The moment I saw my tough-as-nails boss crumpled on the office floor, surrounded by scattered photos of his daughter, something inside me changed forever. His eyes, red and swollen, met mine with a vulnerability I'd never witnessed before. "Emma," he whispered, his voice breaking, "do you want to be my date today?" I didn't know then that saying yes would transform both our lives in ways neither of us could have imagined. If you're touched by this story of unexpected connection and second chances, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more stories that remind us how life's most beautiful moments often come when we least expect them. I'd been working at Meridian Architectural Design for just over 2 years. The pay was decent, the work challenging, and my coworkers pleasant enough. But everyone walked on eggshells around our boss, Gabriel Winters. At 42, he was the youngest partner in the firm's history, known for his brilliant designs and equally infamous for his exacting standards. "He made Jenna cry yesterday," my cubicle neighbor whispered one morning. Apparently her presentation was fundamentally flawed from conception to execution. I nodded sympathetically but kept my head down. Unlike most of my colleagues, I'd managed to stay off Gabriel's radar. I did my work meticulously, spoke only when necessary during meetings, and avoided the office politics that seemed to consume everyone else. That strategy had worked perfectly until that rainy Tuesday in April when I stayed late to finish a project proposal. The office had emptied hours ago. Even the cleaning staff had completed their rounds and departed. I was just gathering my things when I heard it, a sound so out of place in our sterile corporate environment that at first, I couldn't identify it. A sob. Then another. Following the sound, I rounded the corner to Gabriel's office. The door was ajar, spilling a thin rectangle of light into the darkened hallway. I should have left. Should have pretended I heard nothing. But something pulled me forward. Through the gap, I saw him. Gabriel Winters, the man who made senior architects tremble, was sitting on the floor with his back against his desk, face buried in his hands. Around him were scattered photographs, a little girl with his same dark curls and dimpled smile. I must have made a sound because his head snapped up. For a moment, we just stared at each other, the hierarchy between us suspended in that raw moment of human vulnerability. "I'm sorry," I stammered, already backing away. "I didn't mean to intrude." "Wait." His voice was hoarse. He quickly wiped his face with his sleeve, a gesture so uncharacteristically undignified that it stopped me in my tracks. "Emma, right?" I nodded, surprised he knew my name. Gabriel gathered the photos with trembling hands. "My daughter's school has this father-daughter dance tonight. I completely forgot until she called me an hour ago, all excited about her new dress." He swallowed hard. "I have this client dinner I can't reschedule. Important investors from overseas. Can't someone else handle the dinner?" I suggested gently. He laughed, but it was hollow. "That's not how it works at my level." "But Lily." His voice cracked again. "She's been looking forward to this for months. Her mother, my ex-wife, remarried and moved to California last year. Lily's been staying with me full-time since then." I stood awkwardly in the doorway, unsure what to say. This was more personal information than Gabriel had shared with anyone in the office in the 2 years I'd worked there. "She's only 8, he continued, almost to himself. 8 years old and I'm already disappointing her. Could your sister go with her maybe? Or a friend?" I offered. "My family's all back in Boston. And friends." He trailed off, and I understood. Gabriel Winters didn't have friends. He had business associates, clients, and employees who feared him. Then he looked up at me, desperation clear in his eyes. "Emma," he said, his voice barely audible, "do you want to be my date today?" I blinked, certain I'd misheard. "I mean," he clarified quickly, "would you consider taking Lily to the dance? I know it's completely inappropriate to ask, and please feel free to say no, but she needs someone, and you're so." He gestured vaguely at me, "kind." You seem kind. Of all the things I'd been called in my life, kind wasn't one I'd expected from Gabriel Winters. I should have said no. This was crossing every professional boundary imaginable. But the photos on the floor, that little girl with her father's smile, made the decision for me. What time is the dance? 2 hours later, I found myself standing on the porch of a beautiful brownstone in Brookline, my heart pounding as I rang the doorbell. I'd gone home to change into a simple blue dress, nothing fancy but appropriate for a school function. The door swung open to reveal a petite older woman with silver-streaked black hair. "You must be Emma," she said warmly. "I'm Rosa, Lily's nanny. Come in, come in. She's almost ready." The house was stunning, high ceilings, original woodwork, and tasteful modern furnishings that spoke to Gabriel's architectural background. But what struck me most were the drawings and craft projects displayed prominently on the refrigerator and walls. This wasn't just a showpiece home, it was where a child was loved. "Is she very disappointed?" I asked Rosa quietly. The older woman's expression softened. She understands her father works hard. But yes, she was looking forward to going with him. She patted my arm. "It's good of you to step in. Mr. Winters doesn't usually, well, he keeps to himself." Before I could respond, a small voice called from upstairs. "Is she here? Is Daddy's friend here?" And then she appeared at the top of the stairs, a vision in a sparkly purple dress, her dark curls arranged in an elaborate updo with tiny butterfly clips. Lily Winters was the spitting image of her father, except where his eyes were stormy gray, hers were a warm chocolate brown. "Hi," she said shyly, descending the stairs with careful steps in her shiny new shoes. "I'm Lily." I smiled, kneeling to her level. "I'm Emma. Your dad works with me. I love your dress, purple is my favorite color too." She beamed, twirling to show off the way the skirt flared. "Daddy said you're super nice and that you love to dance. Do you know how to do the chicken dance? They always do that at school parties." I bit back a smile, imagining Gabriel Winters describing anyone as super nice or knowing anything about my dancing abilities. "I happen to be an expert at the chicken dance," I assured her solemnly. Rosa helped Lily with her coat, and as we were about to leave, the front door opened. Gabriel stood there, looking slightly disheveled despite his impeccable suit. "Daddy!" Lily launched herself at him. "I thought you couldn't come." He scooped her up, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "The dinner starts a bit later than I thought. I wanted to see my princess before she goes to the ball." His eyes met mine over Lily's head. "And to thank Emma properly for helping us out." "Emma knows the chicken dance," Lily informed him seriously. "Does she now?" A ghost of a smile touched his lips. "I'm not surprised. Emma is very talented." I felt my cheeks warm at the unexpected compliment. Gabriel set Lily down and approached me. "Thank you," he said quietly. "This means more than you know." "It's no problem," I replied, suddenly aware of how different he looked outside the office, still intimidating in his tailored suit, but somehow more human with his daughter's glitter already transferred to his sleeve. "I've called the school to add you to the approved list," he explained. "And I've told them you're a family friend. I hope that's okay." I nodded. "We'll be fine. You should get to your dinner." "Right." He hesitated, then knelt to hug Lily again. "Have the best time, sweetheart. Save me a dance for next time, okay?" "Okay, Daddy." She kissed his cheek. "Don't work too hard." Something flickered across his face, pain, guilt, I couldn't quite tell. Then he straightened, professional mask sliding back into place. "My driver will take you both and bring you home. Call if you need anything." And with that, he was gone, leaving me with his daughter and a strange feeling that I'd glimpsed something few people ever saw, Gabriel Winters, the man behind the intimidating boss. The elementary school gymnasium had been transformed with twinkling lights and paper streamers. Fathers in suits awkwardly swayed with daughters in party dresses while a DJ played a mix of kid-friendly pop songs and classics. "There's my friends." Lily tugged my hand, pulling me toward a group of girls clustered near the punch bowl. "This is Emma," she announced proudly. "She works with my dad and she knows the chicken dance." The girls giggled, and one of them asked, "Is she your dad's girlfriend?" I felt my face flush. "I'm just a friend helping out tonight," I explained quickly. "My mom and dad are divorced," Lily stated matter-of-factly. "Dad doesn't have a girlfriend because he works all the time. That's what Rosa says." An uncomfortable silence fell over the adults within earshot, other fathers and a few mothers who were helping with the event. I could feel their curious gazes, no doubt wondering about my relationship with the apparently single and workaholic father. Thankfully, the DJ chose that moment to announce the chicken dance, and I was dragged to the dance floor by an ecstatic Lily. For the next hour, we danced to everything from Baby Shark to YMCA, stopping only for punch and cookies. Lily was a natural performer, throwing herself into each dance with abandon, her face glowing with joy. During a slower song, as we swayed side to side, she looked up at me thoughtfully. "My dad smiles more at work than at home." The statement caught me off guard. "What makes you say that?" She shrugged. "He always looks tired at home. But he talks about work like it makes him happy." "Does he smile there?" I tried to recall a single instance of Gabriel Winters smiling at the office and came up empty. "I think he's very focused at work," I said diplomatically. "That means no," Lily translated with the uncanny perception of children. "He doesn't smile there either." She sighed dramatically. "Grown-ups are complicated." "That we are," I agreed, twirling her gently. "You're nice though," she decided. "You should come over for dinner sometime. Dad cooks on Sundays. He makes really good spaghetti." "That's a lovely invitation, but your dad and I don't really know each other outside of work." Lily gave me a look that suggested I was missing something obvious. "That's why you come for dinner. To get to know each other." I couldn't argue with that logic. As the evening wound down, Lily's energy finally began to flag. She leaned against me during the last dance, her eyelids drooping. By the time we got to the car, she was half asleep, her head resting on my shoulder. "Did you have fun?" I asked softly. She nodded sleepily. "Best dance ever. Can you come to the next one too?" My heart squeezed. "We'll see what your dad says." The driver took us back to Gabriel's house, where Rosa was waiting. I helped get a now-sleeping Lily changed into pajamas and tucked into bed, feeling strangely domestic in this unfamiliar role. "Thank you again," Rosa said as she walked me to the door. It meant the world to her. "She's a wonderful girl," I replied honestly. "Gabriel is lucky." Rosa's expression turned thoughtful. "He knows that. He's trying his best since the divorce. It hasn't been easy for either of them." I nodded, not wanting to pry but curious about the man who was so different from the boss I thought I knew. "Will you tell him she had a good time?" I asked. "You can tell him yourself," Rosa replied with a small smile. "He asked that you wait for him if it wasn't too late. He wanted to thank you properly." I glanced at my watch, just past 9. "Oh, I didn't realize." "Of course I can wait." Rosa showed me to the living room before excusing herself for the night, leaving me alone in Gabriel Winters' home. I perched awkwardly on the edge of a leather sofa, taking in the details around me. Family photos lined the mantel, Gabriel and Lily at various ages, but no sign of her mother. Architectural magazines were stacked neatly on the coffee table alongside coloring books and crayons. I was studying a particularly striking black and white photograph of what appeared to be Gabriel's childhood home when I heard the front door open. Footsteps approached, and then he was there, looking tired but less burdened than he had earlier. You stayed, he said, sounding genuinely surprised. Rosa said you wanted to speak with me. He nodded, loosening his tie as he crossed to a sideboard. Can I offer you a drink? Wine? Scotch? Wine would be nice, thank you. He poured 2 glasses of red wine, handed one to me, then sat in the armchair across from me. For a moment, we sipped in silence, the strangeness of the situation hanging between us. How was it? He finally asked. Wonderful, I replied honestly. Lily is amazing, smart, funny, confident. You should be very proud. A genuine smile transformed his face. I am. Every day. He swirled the wine in his glass. And the dance itself? Let's just say I've performed the chicken dance with more enthusiasm tonight than ever before in my life. He laughed, a real laugh that reached his eyes, and I realized I'd never heard that sound from him before. I would have paid good money to see that. There may have been photos taken by the PDA, I warned. Your reputation as a fearsome boss could be at risk if they ever leak. Worth it, he said simply. Then, more seriously, Emma, I can't thank you enough. What you did tonight, stepping in for a virtual stranger, making sure Lily didn't miss out, it was extraordinary. I felt my cheeks warm. It wasn't a hardship. She's delightful company. Still. He set his glass down and leaned forward. I'd like to compensate you for your time. What? No. I straightened, suddenly uncomfortable. I didn't do it for money. I know that, he said quickly. But it was above and beyond anything that could be expected of an employee. I didn't do it as your employee, I said firmly. I did it as a human being who saw another human being in distress. He studied me for a long moment, his expression unreadable. You're unlike anyone else at the firm. I'll take that as a compliment. It was meant as one. He picked up his wine again. May I ask you something personal? I nodded, curious. Why architecture? In your interview file, you mentioned changing careers from teaching. That's an unusual transition. I was surprised he remembered that detail from my hiring 2 years ago. I always loved design, even as a child. But my parents were practical people who encouraged practical careers. Teaching was safe. I shrugged. After my mother died, I realized life is too short for safe. Architecture combines creativity with problem solving in a way that challenges me every day. Even when your boss is demanding, he asked with a hint of self-awareness. Especially then, I replied with a small smile. Though I admit, before tonight, I thought you were demanding because you enjoyed making people squirm. He winced. And now? Now I think you're demanding because you care deeply about the work. And because you're trying to balance being a single father with running a successful career. Gabriel was quiet for a moment. That's perceptive. Lily mentioned you cook spaghetti on Sundays, I said, changing the subject. He smiled again, that transformation that made him look years younger. My specialty. My mother's recipe, with a few improvements. She also invited me to dinner sometime, I added, then hurried to clarify. I told her that wasn't appropriate, of course. Gabriel tilted his head, considering me. Why not? Because you're my boss, I stated the obvious. And if I weren't? The question hung in the air between us, loaded with implications I wasn't sure how to interpret. Before I could formulate a response, he continued. I apologize. That was inappropriate. He stood abruptly. It's getting late, and I've kept you long enough. My driver can take you home. I rose as well, confused by the sudden shift. Gabriel. Thank you again for tonight, he said formally, professional mask firmly back in place. I'll see you.